Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today I am joined by Ethan and Susan down there. Or she may be up there, or she may be across there. It depends which way the screen records. But
Hello.
today we are discussing a pilot episode of a TV series, which came to an end last year, its fourth season. But as I say, we're going to be talking about the pilot episode of season one because there's too many episodes to sit through and watch. We are talking Preacher, which started in 2016, I think it was. So, and this pilot episode is just over an hour and 4 minutes, I think, starring Dominic Cooper and Joe Gilgun and Ruth Negga in the main cast. So, without further ado, we'll go on our opening thoughts. So, guys, what's your opening thoughts on this episode of Preacher? And maybe we can go into a history of Preacher as well, in the... Oh, Ethan's going like that. Shall we go to Ethan? We'll go to Ethan. You go first, and Ethan.
I knew I was going to go, but I thought, I know this one. But yes, Preacher.
Yeah, give us a bit of history about Preacher first, then.
Yes, I will. One of my favourite comic books of all time, and it's one of the best comics ever, is written by the great Garth Ennis, who's got a very warped sense of humour and a very warped sense of storytelling, which I bloody well love. Garth Ennis famously wrote The Boys, which is one of the greatest comic books of all time. We spoke about that, the TV show. So
I've already reviewed that, and you didn't even invite me, for crying out loud.
Oh, dear. But so in a way, it all started with Preacher. Preacher was a comic back in the 90s, and I remember reading this when it first came out, because I thought, whoa, what is this? What's this? Because the artwork was so stunning, and it was not like any other comic book. It has it's a style that's sort of like Quentin Tarantino meets God knows what else. And it has a very dazzling sort of gore and gross out humor, but it deals with a lot of funny topics like religion and all that stuff, and it just warps it around, which is brilliant. And so anyway, the story goes, it's about a preacher called Jessie, and he's played absolutely brilliantly by Dominic Cooper in this. But anyway, the comics are pretty much same as the TV show. The comics are about a preacher who lives in Texas. He used to be a criminal, and he gave it up and decided to be a preacher, just like his dad, who was killed by two certain villains who appeared later in the comics and the TV series, called TJ and Jody, who are absolute psychopaths, but two of the best villains. So he became a preacher in Texas, and he's down on his luck. Nothing's going his way until one day he got possessed by a creature called Genesis, half angel, half demon. And no, so yeah, Genesis ain't the band, as they keep mentioning in this. And as soon as he got possessed, he had the power of God, and his whole world just turns upside down. He then meets his best friend, who's an Irish vampire.
He has the power of God in his voice.
The power of God in his voice. So whenever at certain times, whenever he talks, when he commands you, his voice will go jump off a cliff, and you'll do it. You'll jump off a cliff, or show her your heart. And yeah, show her the heart, literally. But and the next thing they know is his ex-girlfriend comes back. He's being chased by a dead cowboy from hell, and all hell breaks loose, and so many stuff happens in this. And it's all about, they find out that God has left heaven. He's basically, as us English say, he's done a runner. So it's basically a road trip across America to find God. Where's God hiding? And what is this power he's got? And what are angels really like? And all this other stuff. But so, yeah, and eventually when they announced this TV show, I remember fondly when I saw the trailer for this, and I thought, wait a minute, I recognize this. This is that comic I used to read. And it is a really hard comic to adapt, like The Boys, because of the topic and the way it is. It's so hard to adapt. And I thought, no way can they do this. No way can they pull this off. And it's on AMC, so they are kind of restricted. But what they do in this, they really get away with a lot. I could go into so much fun detail with this. I will say for a certain character, poor her star. many, many times. But yes, we're not. I'd love to talk about the rest of the show, but we're talking about the pilot. So, as I said, this is the first series, and this pilot is basically, it's sort of a prequel to the first issue of the comic. The first issue, they're straight out into the countryside. They're being chased by a villain called the Saint of Killers, who's an undead cowboy, a bounty hunter for God. They're being chased. That's how the comics actually started. Season 2 is basically issue 1. But this is basically, the way it's told in the comic, it's like 100 miles per hour, as they said. So they had to change it a bit for the TV show. And it's a fantastic episode. I remember thinking, I can't wait for this. This is it. This is what I can't wait for. And this was one of the TV shows, probably the only TV show at the time I was like thirsty for. I was like, I want to see this. I want more of this. And I was so excited for the next episode because it was just done so well. And the cast in this is nailed perfectly. I mean, I'll go into all that, like with favorite moments and stuff like that. But you've got, as you said, Joseph Gilgan as Cassidy. That's right out of the comics. He's brilliant. He is. My two favorite characters are him and the Saint of Killers. They are absolutely brilliant. But they all nail the parts perfectly. And this first episode, it really tells everything perfectly. And it sets everything up perfectly. And the humor in this is great. The music is great. The style is great. The cinematography is great. Everything about this first episode is fantastic. And it's a wild ride. And it really is one of the best shows I've ever watched. And I'll always recommend this. And I would watch this again and again. But yeah, what a first episode. Just from this Genesis coming to Earth. And it does all the best bits, you know, like possessing all these different priests who can't handle his power. So they literally blow up into blood. One of them being Tom Cruise, which is brilliant. That was hilarious. And yeah, you've got these two mysterious guys on Earth who are basically angels, but angels are not exactly what you think from the Bible. They're a bit more... not really nice, are they? When they're not really caring.
They're like the angels in the TV show Supernatural, but
yeah, they're not quite caring. They're funny, they're brilliantly and so hilarious, so it is again just setting everything up. Jesse's down on his luck. You've got Cassidy coming into the fold, and Tulip, his ex-girlfriend, comes back, and it is about him getting possessed by this creature of ultimate power. And as soon as it does, everything just goes into absolute chaos and madness. And it is just a great, 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 great TV show. I'll go into more detail later. But yeah, fantastic first episode. And I'm so glad Lee recommended this. You know, we said about this, but I'm so glad I watched this first episode again because it really brought back memories when it came out in 2016. It touched my heart going, I love it. It's just, brilliant, brilliant. So over to you.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, Ethan can't stand it.
He's a bit like, you know, bored of this show.
He may explode with excitement.
Yes.
Boom. Right, over to Susan then.
Yeah, I liked it too. I'm just gonna say it like really gently. I liked it too. I watched. I've kept up on it. This is like one of those shows that you just really want to watch it some more, and you know, the stories are interesting. Like the story arcs are interesting. I like this one. The first story about Genesis and about you know, that kid who shoots himself in the face and ends up like permanently Eugene, and the way his face looks like an orifice of release of waste, an ass. Anyway, he's played really well, and like his father, the sheriff, has really played well, and I can't get over how cool it is to have a different style vampire than you've ever seen in anything other than this. I mean I'm a big vampire fan. I mean I'm a great big vampire fan. I'm reading, authentic vampire lore here, and so this Cassidy reminds me of Cassidy in the one who was part of the Merry Pranksters, kind of a bonkers guy who moves at a million miles an hour. That's I think I know where all of this stuff comes from in terms of who everything relates to in sort of the the personages that were around in the 60s. These are all sort of archetypes from the 60s, and that's fun because it's set in the 90s or present day, and the angels are jerks like they are in Supernatural. Like the angels that I know in real life, they're not like that, and they don't have that sort of sass and stuff, but they can, anyway, these ones are different, and Tulip is so fun. I mean, yes, she's pining for Jessie, she's always pining for Jessie. Even when she's with Cassidy, she's pining for Jessie. That's later on. But yeah, Tulip is a really fun character too. So there's this relational matrix that they build. You actually care whether or not they are together, and you actually see them grow as people. It's not sort of one dimension. These aren't one-dimensional characters. They have a lot of character growth, a lot of and because it's so extreme, their experiences. They have a sort of a they have a lot of they grow a lot of beauty in that extremity, and I enjoy that part of it, and I'm sure that was part of the comic book, the graphic novel, but I never read that. I just know that over the course of even this first episode, Jesse's hopeless, and then he's imbued with this power, and because he's got that sort of evil side to him, he's able to withhold this. And yeah, a lot of other preachers bid it, in the course of Genesis finding a host. But Genesis is the voice. It's there's a lot. See, it goes on. The mythos goes on, and they talk a lot about the different facets of the Almighty and what He's like about, and one of those is the voice, and the other is the Son, and this voice is part of it. So I'm thrilled that we're talking about this. I liked the story of the like how he relates to his congregation when he first gets empowered, like the whole just show her your heart, and the guy reaches in and presents his actual beating organ instead of showing him your emotional heart. You shouldn't have to say that, but you do if you got such power. So I guess that's fun. And so that kind of shows the boundaries of this. This is a very literal voice of God kind of thing. It's not sort of empathetic and understanding. It's just, this is what you do. And so that's also fun. So yeah, let's I'll save some favorite moments for the favorite moment part. Back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Susan. Me personally, I've never read the comics. I knew they were out there, but I've never read them. So when I came across this program a few years back, it was, to me, watching it, a breath of fresh air. It was something different. It hadn't been done before. Nothing like it. But I mean, there was some similarities. You say there's the angels thing, you know, the connection with the supernatural angels and stuff like that. But story-wise, there was nothing like this. And watching it, you can tell, these characters have come off the page of a comic. Just the way they were written, acted, and say the appearances of Eugene as well, you know, Arseface, which is just a brilliant character. And you do get to feel sorry for Eugene through the season.
Over the course of the whole series,
but
he has quite a lot of growth too.
Yeah, but this pilot episode, it got me hooked. Just this episode, because it introduces how many now? 3 of the main characters. Well, 4 if you include Eugene as well. Saint of is it the Saint of Killers or the Killer of Saints? Killer of Saints, is it?
The Saint of Killers.
Saint of Killers.
He's not in this episode as yet, but he's a big character and comes along. I don't know, maybe in the next episode or the episode after, but brilliant. But as I said to Ethan the other day, the main characters in this program are nearly all British actors portraying Americans. And, I mean, you've got Dominic Cooper, British. You've got Joe Gilgan, British. What's his name? Is it Graham?
Graham McTavish, who's
Scottish. Ruth Negger, she's Ethiopian Irish.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not many American or even the character who plays Hair who appears later on in the series.
Yeah, he's British.
British.
Well, because it's you have to have such a stylized performance. You need some British chops. Someone trained with the Royal Academy.
But to me, though, I mean, for just one series, that's a hell of a lot of British actors.
Yeah,
in an American production.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't often. I mean, you do often see British actors in American shows, but not that many.
Yeah, not.
But they pull it off. They do pull it off. Say Dominic Cooper is a brilliant actor. And he, done many movies. I mean, he's known for Mamma Mia and all like that. But for him to play this, Jessie, it's a troubled soul, shall we say? But once the voice of God or the power of God enters him, then the story really starts. And as Susan says, it's taken literally, whatever he says. So he in the end has to be careful what he says, because things do happen. As you know, as he says to one character, if nobody's seen this, what's it? He says to one character, "Go to hell." Literally disappears and goes to hell, which is in the stories later on about hell, people in hell, and infamous people in hell. Pilot episode, yeah, you get to meet some of the townsfolk, Not everything's not so good in the town. There's a wife who's getting beaten up by her husband, but she kind of likes it in a kinky way. But also, then the husband's not a very nice guy. But I enjoyed watching this. As I say, I have not seen season 4 yet, so none of you two don't spoil it for me.
My mouth is sealed. My lips are sealed.
The kid. It isn't about the wife not liking it. It's the kid.
The little kid, yeah, the son, yeah. But
he's not into getting hit.
True. But it's Jessie who goes to see the mother, because it was the young kid who came to Jessie to say, can you do something about him hating people? Yeah, I like it. I mean, you do get the feel of a little backward town, some city. It's a town, is it? It's not a city, I would say. It's a town.
Just a town. Just a town.
A little bit, and the music in this is brilliant. There's a bit of Willie Nelson and all like that, and it's good. I like it. And as I say, they don't hold back on the action and the bit of gore. Usually the gore involves Cassidy. But yeah, really played well by Joe Gilgan. He's the Irish vampire. For me, I would say, my favourite character in this. He makes it. He does make it. I mean, walking around with an umbrella and. Anyways, we'll go to favourite moments. So we'll work our way backwards. Susan, favourite moments or things you're not so keen on?
Things I'm not so keen on are very few and far between.
Let's go for your favourite things.
So Alex got me this Blu-ray set because, it's a really, really awesome series. And in this episode, dealing with the mother and the child and the father and his Confederate friends, that's foreshadowing for Who's in Hell later on. There is a lot of interesting issues there, and there is his relationship to the secretary. She is hung up on him. She'll do anything for the church and anything for him, really. And the other thing that's interesting is the sheriff and his son Eugene, and how sort of coddled he is, even though he's sort of a grown man now. He's a high school graduate, so I don't know. They made this seem like he was, he was sort of just a Muppet, really. Anyway, he was so that character grows a ton. Oh my God, so much. And then Cassidy runs into some of the angels and stuff in this aircraft, and he's just partying hard with these people, and then they try and kill him, and they have, they've got the Bible and stuff, or maybe it's not the angels, maybe it's a bunch of humans, but whatever, they try to take on a vampire in an aircraft flying in the dark, and that is not maybe a smart thing to try to do, because it goes really far afield. Anyway, I like that, and I liked it when he came and he had to start, he went to work for Jessie, this fallen vampire who doesn't fly, but flies commercial. No, flies in in regular jets, not commercial. That was a nice jet. That was a nice jet. Anyway, so, and then he's like relegated to this one little town and stuff, and helping this preacher who, you know, he can't command can't command Cassidy to do anything. Jessie is not able to, with Genesis even, command Cassidy. But he also doesn't. He also can choose whether or not he uses it, and that's fun because he doesn't command Tulip either. So, okay, that's really the basic start. Is that they're all introduced, and it's very fun. And I've enjoyed watching all of it. So back over to you.
Thanks for that, Susan. Right, we'll go over to Mr. Ethan now. We'll see what he has to say.
What's not to like about this show? It's absolutely fantastic. Every step of the way is brilliant. As we've said, it's based on a comic, and the comics do go further. I mean, some of the scenery and some of the things they see that they didn't put in this show. Again, AMC, you know, they can only do so much, but what they do put in the show, wow, well done to them. You went far. Well done, AMC. But no, I will say one of my favorite parts is the actors. It's the actors. I mean, I read the comic, so seeing these guys, they just nail everything. You know, Joseph Gilgan. I mean, what a man! Well done to him going that far from Misfits and This Is England to something as big as this. You know, and he's just so funny. I mean, I'm going to quickly say one of my favorite bits, which is obviously the introduction to Jessie is absolutely perfect. That to me is the best bit in the episode. You know, in the plane, and of course, if you don't know it, you're thinking, "Who is this guy? He's an Irish guy." And then as soon as he spots the sun, well, I thought, you know, Tijuana was south, so I might be wondering why we're heading towards the sun now, boys. Yeah, well, I know, I'm just a drunk Irishman, and then he fights all the guys, and it's the funniest fight ever. I thought when I watched this, I thought, this is the best pilot I've ever seen. You know, he's ripping them up, spears are flying and flamethrowers with a deodorant or something. And that bit when he like throws the bottle at the guy and the plane's going down, he thinks, oh crap, I better get out of here. Pulls the cork out of the bottle, tips the guy over, and the blood comes out. He goes, cheers, mate. Yeah, that was just brilliant. But yeah, all the actors are great. And later on, as we've mentioned, we get Pip Torrance as her star, who's one of the big villains. And I remember when he came on, I wasn't looking at Pip Torrance, I was looking at her star. I thought, geez, he's just jumped out of the comic. And my other favourite character, the Saint of Killers, because I remember thinking, how are they going to introduce him? What's he going to be like? And perfect choice for Graham McTavish. To play the part. He was phenomenal. And it's great. It is in the next episode, I think, where they cleverly place little stories, well, little chapters of his story of who he is and how he became to be. And the twist in the final episode where you work out what is actually going on with the Saint Killers, where you go, this isn't just an origin, is it? And you work out what's going on. That was, he's in hell. Replaying the last moments of his life again and again and again. The worst thing he ever did was murder a whole town. And it comes up saying hell. I thought that was bloody clever as anything. It was brilliant. Other favorite, but all the actors, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Again, with Cassidy, I love the introduction, how him and Jessie meet. He comes into the bar after eating a full cow. Well, he's like, half of his body's ripped apart. Hey, you, come here. Pulls this poor cow in, eats it up, and he goes into a bar. I love how they meet. And, of course, like I've already mentioned, they're watching TV. Tom Cruise just exploded, which was great. That whole bit was brilliant in the bar with the wife's husband who's hitting on her sexually, but you do work out he's not really a nice guy. And that whole fight, where you actually learn that a bit about Jesse's past, he was a criminal and he was a skilled martial artist fighter. And I love the dialogue Jesse does in this, like the bit at the beginning where he says, "How far do I go?" That's a great scene with him and the boy. And this bit here when he says, you know, "I'm going to make you do the sound of a rabbit." That is, and it's so, this guy deserved it when he just punches him and stuff like that. And then the sheriff goes, "That's enough. Just one last thing." And you see the bone sticking out. I was like, whoa, they actually did it. And he just does the noise on Buddy. And it cuts to Cassidy. "Jesus, what kind of preacher are you?" The soundtrack in this is great. And that's one of my favorite bits. All the music, Willie Nelson, even the background music at times, you know, not just the songs, the background music is like the ambience is so good. But it just fits the show so perfectly. And it is kind of like Quentin Tarantino, where he picks all these old songs and puts them in a certain time. This does kind of the same, really. It fits in a certain country, or, well, a certain area of America, you know, Texas. There's a lot of Western music and stuff. Trying to think of everything else. I do love Tulip's introduction. The fact that she gets these poor little kids to help her build this bazooka out of cans and jars. Or what bullets can I use? Give me those toy soldiers. Let's play a game of hide and seek.
That is a good introduction.
Yeah.
But also the introduction of Tulip before that as well, in the car through the fields.
Yeah.
She's one feisty woman.
Oh, she's brilliant. The actress Ruth Negga, who played her, she's fantastic. Absolutely nails the character. And, you know, using everything from corn on the cob right into the head. The humor in this it's proper. If you've it's true to Garth Ennis's style of humor, which is just so far out there, and the humor in this is just so messed up, but it's perfect black humor where it just will make you laugh because it's so over the top. Yeah. It's so bonkers. But even some of the side characters you feel for. And it's funny, like I said, you've got these little characters. Eugene's brilliant. Absolutely. What a fantastic character. Poor arseface. You know, and it's just, you just feel sorry for the poor kid.
I say I like arseface, but I like the way they put subtitles up every time.
Yeah, that's it. It was so brilliant. When subtitles come on, I just think perfect. And he nails the part perfectly. It's again like The Boys, which they've done a TV show. The Boys does go further because it's on Amazon Prime. But what they did in this, like I said, it was the one show where I thought everything else. I was like, yeah. But for me, it was Preacher at the time. I was like, this is my show. This is the one I'm waiting for. You know, this is the one I'm so excited for. And I do love how it ends. Actually, I love how it opens up. It opens up in sometimes like an old movie, you know, like the crackling of an old film reel. And then suddenly with space, and you'd see this Genesis flying by going, this baby fly going, and I do love how it ends, which just sets it up perfectly. You know, you've got Jesse in power. I could do this. I could be a great priest. Are you sure about that, mate? Because there's a dead guy right now somewhere who's just ripped his heart out. They really don't hold back on the gore. And there's a certain fight later on between the angels and a seraphim angel where they just...
Oh, yes. I remember that.
In a motel, and they just keep dying and coming back, dying and coming back, dying and coming back, and the bodies pile high and all the blood and guts are everywhere. It's just a great fun series. all the villains are nailed perfectly as well. Like later on, you get Satan as a villain, who's brilliant. One of the nastiest villains who I remembered from the comic, Grandma, who is just pure evil.
The one that Jessie lived with as a kid.
Yeah,
And
Grandma.
then there was the guy in the white coat guy.
Her star, who I've mentioned, is this guy is the perfect villain you love. The perfect villain you love to hate.
And then like his group, what's his group called?
The Holy Grail. Well, the Grail.
And then they have all these versions of Jesus or a scion of Jesus.
Yeah, Humpadoo.
Humpadoo.
This is the savior.
Also, there's another one of the villains as well. What's his name? Big Holy Father.
Oh, the
Holy Father.
All Father.
Yeah.
All Father, who again?
Yeah, just food.
Like Odin. Yeah.
The All Father. Again, it's all these characters I remembered from the comics, and they bring them to life so perfectly. And I thought, wow, they have nailed it with this. They do change the story a bit. They do
God in a suit, a Dalmatian suit.
Oh yeah, God.
Yeah.
Dog
spelled backwards.
Yeah, I remember telling my dad about this, and my dad said, the Christians are going to have a bloody field day with this, but this is going to be hilarious.
But, it's not... These aren't like the real characters. I mean, like, God is really...
But how it plays with it.
Right. But it's
how it plays with it.
Christians aren't going to mess with it because it's not the actual, true characters. It's just these other characters who happen to have the same name. It's just like Dogma in the Kevin Smith lexicon. There is always something that's like that takes the Mickey out of all of this, and this definitely does.
It's the humor reminds me very much of like going far like Monty Python Life of Brian, where it did anger a lot of Christians and a lot of people, but I love
that
does offend.
That doesn't that actually has Christ in it, and he is just Jesus, and there's no messing with that. These are not real. There's a difference there, subtle. But let you continue.
Yeah, it's still somewhat of a humor where they did go far, because the history of Life of Brian, they did go, oh, you can't do that. Are you sure you're going to do this? It does go far. And I love the humor for this, where it just does warp everything around. Like, Jesse's like, oh, the Bible's this. The angels are not very nice. One's eating a tea bag and they're just like, oh, piss off, mate. Piss off, mate. We got this. And, God, who is an absolute psychopath in this, wait till season 4, Lee. I'm not going to spoil it, but
right.
He goes full on evil, like
right,
psycho tyrant. But it just is such a great series. I mean, I think I've said all my favorite moments in this episode, because it is only like 1 hour and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I could go on about this show. There's so many bits I want to point out, but it is about the pilot, so got to remember that. But yes, over to you guys.
Well, yeah, you've said most of the things. I mean, for me, it's the characters in this what steal the show. I mean, you say Cassidy, as you've mentioned, jumps out of the plane. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I thought, well, when I first saw it, I thought, right, he's opening the plane up. He hasn't got a parachute on. Why hasn't he got a parachute on? What's he doing? He's just got an umbrella and a bottle of blood. And then he's laid in the crater there. His guts are here and legs there, and that poor cow. I don't know. But as you say, the fight scene in the bar with Jessie and the guy was just amazing. I mean, I thought Cassidy might have got involved in that with the fight, but he didn't. All he did was push a chair.
Yeah.
But they say snap. Yeah, that was just brilliant. But for me, it's good to see a feisty woman, and she's feisty. Is Tulip. She knows what she's on about. She knows what she's doing, and as you said, to build a bazooka out of tin cans and sticky back plastic. So it's just amazing. You know, stick them in the basement. Just don't come out until. also as well, the cut of that battle scene, didn't they? You didn't see any of it happen because the kids was in the basement, so they didn't have to film any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a brilliant series, as I say, and it's a good pilot episode to set up the series.
Yeah.
Because it introduces everybody of the main people what carry on through the series. As I say, there's a few characters what you do meet along the way, but these are the main people that you do follow from beginning to end. You say Jessie, he's conflicted because of the power he's got now, and you do in another one of the series he doesn't want the power anymore. That's in another series. It's that. For me, it's the comradeship of these main characters. What they come together. You never expect those characters to come together, go on, as you say, a road trip, and work together so well. But they do. So yeah. Anybody anything else to say about this?
One villain I've just wanted to point out, and because he is a great character, in the first series, I think he was kind of like the main villain of the first series. Anyway,
are you going to say the man who owns the factory?
Yeah, Queen Cannon. What a brilliant villain he is. And I remembered him from the comics, and they said they were going to introduce him in this series, the first series, because in the comics he never appeared until much later on, I think. But in this, and I thought, you're really going to go there, aren't you? You're really going to go there. And he was such a twisted character. Like, you know, there's that one episode where he's trying to bring his family back, like trying to find souls. And he's got the entrails of his own wife and kid. And
I'm trying to remember the actor's name, but I know he played Rorschach in Watchmen, and he was the new Freddy Krueger as well. Yeah,
but one of the scenes, what they did was, they probably couldn't do this scene because from the comics, but there's a reference to it where he makes a baby, like his own daughter, out of mincemeat. In the very final episode, he makes a daughter out of ground beef. And he's hugging it like that. But in the comics, he's more twisted. He actually makes, in the comics, he made not only that, but a wife out of, meat. Like the breasts, he used roast chickens, and then ribs. He made this big woman made of meat and had sex with it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget the scene of the comic. He's laying there naked with this woman made of meat, and he's just had sex with her, and you're like, oh my flipping God. Which they probably would have pulled that off in Amazon Prime, probably, but the whole, what a twisted villain.
Jackie L. Harley.
That's him. And that was one of the best episodes when him and his boys try to take on the church, and it's just hilarious. And that guy, they all run away. But then there's that one guy who goes charging and going, I can do this. Think of the food court. And he vanishes into smoke, and they're like, where's he gone? And he comes out. What's he carrying? He shot my dick off. And they're like, and Queen Cannon goes, what? They shot my dick off. Look. And they're like, oh. It don't hurt that much. We could sew it back on. Sew my dick back on. My penis is okay.
And then they keep showing that scene over and over and over again in the next few episodes, which is sort of fun.
Yeah, but it just we could sew it back on. My penis is safe. And then look at him go, I don't believe this. Oh, but yeah, I had to point that one out because I just thought the villain there and all those scenes. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, anything else before we go to final say? No. Okay then. Final say and score then. Susan.
Okay. My final say is I'm sad that it's done, but I was glad I watched it, and I'm glad I rewatched the pilot, and I'm really grateful to Alex for getting me the series, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was really good.
Cool.
Quite enjoyable. Thanks.
Ethan.
Well, like Susan, I was sad when it ended. You know, it was one of these shows I didn't want it to end. But I'm so glad they did this. I'm so glad they actually made an effort, put it out there, and did a great job. So for this one, like the Saint of Killer's Choice of Weapons, I'm going to give it 10 pistols out of pistols. 10 pistols out of 10. 10 pistols, 10 pistols.
10 pistols. Right here. Yeah, me coming into this a few years back, I didn't know what to expect. I just, found it, and I fell in love with it, and that's why, then I ended up buying the the DVDs. Still got season 4 to find yet. I don't think it's been released yet.
I'll need to have a look.
Yeah. Enjoyable opener, as I say. It introduces us to the characters you're going to fall in love with. It introduces all these lot, but as the story goes along, the seasons go along, the stories do get more weirder and weirder and more entertaining. So just for that, I'm giving the pilot about an 8.5, because the stories are a bit more entertaining, but it does introduce you to all the characters.
That's true. Yeah.
Sets the tone of the series. So yeah, 8.5 is a good one from me.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's an enjoyable series. I fully, really did enjoy it. I've watched 3 seasons up to now. Looking forward to the 4th season. I know it's already been broadcast on TV and that, but I'm behind on these sort of things. My list of things to watch is just endless. So I'm still catching up on things from 1978. So, but we've done and dusted now. We've done Preacher. I'm glad we've talked about it, because it has been on the list to talk about this for a while now. So I'd like to thank Ethan for joining me, Susan for joining me. You guys out there, let us know what you think of Preacher, what you thought of the comic Preacher. Did you enjoy the series?
And if you want to hear me preach, go on my YouTube channel. I actually do some preaching.
She preaches down to. I tell you, when we're not on here, she preaches to us. Yeah, she tells us what to do: clean that floor, get the cooking done, puts the whip out. But that's another thing. Some of us like that. But you guys out there, please leave a comment. If you want to be on our cast, get in touch, leave us a message. We're everywhere: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. If you want to be notified that we've got a new video up, press the bell, ding the bell. You'll get the notification. So until next time, when we'll be doing another cast in a week's time, we'll be seeing you again, hopefully. Please give us a thumbs up. Bye for now.